Hello and welcome back once again to our second or last session of our third lecture. We are going to proceed from where I stopped at in the previous session, and we remember we just talked about different classes. Classes, and we got introduced to what object-oriented programming in PHP. We've looked at what meant by class and why we need classes and what is meant by an object. So we did a simple example here, and we saw how we can make use of classes and functions. So that is just one simple introduction to classes. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce and take you much more deeper into object-oriented programming in that. So you've seen the beauty already of using classes and objects in a way that you can define your own rules, and then you do what? You use those rules to work as a preset of a certain data structure that you want in your project. We created a product and also a customer object. A customer class. So let us go ahead and save this as another file. So I'm going to save it as number 17, and then I'm going to call it maybe lists. So sometime you'll need, so the same data has remained here, and we've also created another data here for number 17. So sometimes, or most of the time, we will need to use these classes in form of what? The objects, we will need to use them in form of lists. So lists in that programming, they also support classes, okay? They also support classes. For example, if you want to create a list of all these products so that we can have them into the same variable, we can possibly do it. As you can see here, when we displayed them distinctively, like we said, print this, print this, print this, print this. What if there are maybe 100 products that you want to display or to work with? So it could be problematic to do what? To individually deal with them. So that's when we come to the list of products that we may find so much more important, in a way that we can loop into that particular variable of a list and then we reuse. So if you want to create a list of a product, what you'll do, just simply say, now I'm going to create a list and call it products. That all the products should be in that particular list. So that when I'm displaying them or when I'm dealing with them, I don't do what? I don't do this distinctive way of doing things. So if I want to do what? To calculate, to create a list of objects, I'll just simply write the word list, then open this square bracket, and then put the data type that I want to have in that list. So this is going to be a list of products. If you remember, we did a list of what? A list of string. Okay, so you can as well do a list of what? Of product. So I can call this one products. Okay, product, it is products, like this. Okay, equals to, and then I initialize it to an empty list. That is how we initialize what? An empty list, those square brackets. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to add these products in this list. Okay, so instead of maybe saying display like this, I'm just going to say products.add, and then I add sugar there. Can you see? So it means that this sugar has been added into this list. Okay, so I can go ahead and say products.add salt. Okay, and remove this guy. Okay, and then say product.add soap. Okay, and then I can go ahead and say product.add cap. Okay, so can you look at that? What does that mean? It means that we now have all our products into one what? Into one list. And if I want to deal with them, I can just simply use this variable to access all the products other than having them distinctively. Now let us display them. Okay, so to display them, yes, hello?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
There is that soap.id, you have written it salt.id.
That is why soap had ID 0. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for that observation. So now when you need to display these products now, or when you need to deal with them in any way, I can just simply now loop into this. Thank you for being much more attentive. So let's go ahead and display them. So I had shown you only one type of what? One type of loop. Okay? The for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. Now here there are more two types of loops in Dart programming that will make a work much more easy. So we have for each loop, and also another type of loop that I don't know its name, but you will see it. Okay, now assume that I want to display this product. So according to your knowledge, what you have, you could just simply say maybe for, okay, and then you say maybe here product, I mean maybe int, and then say int is less than products dot what dot length. Okay, so that would be really painful. Dot what dot length, and then you start calling the other function. Okay, of course you'll achieve it, but there is another better way of doing it. Okay, this is one of displaying all the product. Then I'll be pointing at the products, and then since it's an it's a list, I can pass the I here, and then it will be able to do what? To do the same thing. Okay, so this one will be able to print for me products in the kind of loop that you know. So if I call that and then I say 17, then I press the tab key, it will display for me the products. Okay, so I'll comment that one, I'll not delete it. That is one way of looping. So I need to show you another way of looping in that programming. I know it's boring, but if you want to understand many things, you have to give them much more time. Right now, I know most of you were expecting to already be in practicals, but I don't want to rush. I want you to understand things, okay? So now that's one way of looping. That is one way, which is not the best way. So there's another way for each. So just simply say the list of products, and you say dot for each. They will suggest for you the remaining things. Okay, so here we'll have what you call element. Okay, omega say pro anything. Okay, so they will loop, I mean the system will loop the product, and each product it will be putting it inside that it will be giving it to you inside this part, inside this pro. And then in this curl bracket you can do whatever logic that you want to do. Okay, in this curl bracket inside here. So if I want to achieve the same thing, I'll just simply say display product. Why is it not calling? Product display. Okay, like this, and then I pass pro. So what does it mean? It's going to display for me this product. So this is also another way of looping. You attach a for each on a what? On a product. I mean on a list. It will loop for you those things. So if you didn't know much more in that programming, those are the techniques that I need you to do what? To know. Don't learn them hard way, but to learn them through this way. So when I do like this, I'll achieve the same result. I hope we are together. That is a for each that you can attach on any kind of list in that programming. I'll comment it. Now there is the one that is recommended. Okay, that is really much more recommended. That is much more effective. Is this one in a way that you can say you write for, and then you open the curly bracket, and then you write the data type that you want. You say product, and then you give it a name. Oh, My electricity has gone and I'm using monitor. Wait, let me see. I'm using an external monitor. It is back. I hope you're still seeing my screen, guys. Are you? Can I get feedback from you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I can again say pro. You can give it any name, and then you say in, and then you put your list here in products. That's a very beautiful way of looping. You see, just for, and then you give here the data type, you give the name, then you say in, and then you put the product. I mean the list, and then you open your curly bracket here. That is also another way of looping in that programming, which is really beautiful, and I can go ahead and display. So here you need to create new variables, which is really painful, and you'll have to check the logic by yourself whether the list has been reached at the end. Here but we'll have the break and continue ability with this kind of loop. Okay, that's the advantage of it. Here you can break, you can continue. I don't know whether you guys understand the meaning of break and continue. Okay, I'll explain. Okay, here you can break and continue. For those new members who didn't know, I'll explain it. Here you cannot break, you cannot continue, so it will have to loop everything. Okay, but in this one you can break, you can continue, and you don't need to check the logic whether you have reached by the end of the product. I mean the end of the what? Of the list. And there's no new creation of what? Of product. I mean of unnecessary variables. And you don't need to do the logic of checking the end of the list by yourself. And you also have the advantage of breaking and continuing. So for those who didn't know the meaning of the meaning of continue and break. Right now, if I go ahead and loop my project, you see, I can see all the products. Let me say that I want to display only the even what? Even products, or the products with even IDs. So if I want to do that, it means that when I'll be reaching any product that has an ID that is odd, I should do what? I should continue. I should not even proceed. I should go to the next product. So to do that, you can simply say if, and then you say this product, pro. So in that programming language, you have a lot of functions that can help us to do some logic. For example, finding a number, whether it is odd or even. In Java, C++, it is really, you have to write that logic by yourself. But in that, you can just simply say .id . And then you say you see is even, is odd, you see. So you can, whether it is negative, all that, you can do that. So I can just simply say if is odd. Okay. So if a number is odd, it should go to the next, it should continue. Tesu kawao, it should just stop from there and continue. So you just write the word continue here. So I'm not saying that you can use continue in this case only, but I need you to get the idea that these things are really possible, or this kind of continuing. So if you're maybe doing a lot of logic here in bottom and you don't want to do it for some cases, okay, you can do such kind of thing in your project, so that it saves you much more, even the efficiency of the product of your application. So for me, I'll show you the possibility, then the creativity and the idea. It is up to you. Okay, I may not be even much more creative than you guys, but I might be knowing things that you don't know. So if I show it to you, you can even become much more creative than me and do something better than that. So you see, so this one means that if it is odd, it will not proceed from here. Okay, so if I do like that, I can only print the even. So when it was 1, it was skipped. It continued, it went to the next one. You see? So what if I need to print the what? Let me say that I want to print only. So I can go ahead and comment this guy. By the way, you can access my code on GitHub. So in case you want to remind yourself of something, you just go to the GitHub. and then you'll be able to access my code. It is public. So now what if I want to print only 2 items, okay? Only the first two. I can just simply say int, I want to show another thing, int, and then say x equals to 1, and then I say x plus plus, and then I be checking if x is greater than 2, I should break. So break means stop the what? The looping. Okay? Stop the looping and jump out of it. That's what we mean by what? By break. Break means to stop the loop and jump out of it. So by doing like this, I'll be able to print only the 2 products, even though there are many. You see? 1, 2. So when it was 3, x was greater than 3, it broke the what? The loop. So that's the meaning of what? Of break. So all these things, teaching them so that you can use them as what? As tools when you start programming, okay? Though they are not the same topic. But because of time...
Recording in progress.
Because of time, I hope you're still getting me. So because of time, I'm doing what? I'm mixing the what? The topics. So that is how we do what? That's how we loop. And in what? In that programming. So now we're going to get introduced to something else called methods, okay? So there's a difference between functions and a method. So a function is the one that is not inside the class, is a function that is publicly accessed from anywhere and not set into the class, as you saw how we did functions. But a method is a function. It is nothing but a function that is inside a class. For example, we may be having functions that we will not need to use everywhere in the project, but we need to use them in particular classes. So the better way to deal with those functions and put them maybe in a well-organized way, you better make them methods of classes. For example, a function that computes the percentage discount that you're giving to the customer. Let us say that function is maybe consuming 2 MBs of our memory. So if you put it outside there to be accessed in the whole program, what does it mean? You'll have wasted that 2 MBs, and then your application will not be well efficient. So if a function, its work is just to work within a class, like for example, I've said a function that calculates the percentage discount, it is better you put it inside the class of what? Of products. That function will work within the product and will only be loaded into the memory of a device when that class is loaded, or when that instance of that class is created in your application. So those are the one that we call method. So I'm going to show you how we can create a method and how we can make use of it. So I'll go ahead and create another file. So I'm going to press Ctrl+Shift+S, the same file but another copy of it, so that when I share with you my source code, you can remind yourself. Press Ctrl+Shift+S, and then I'm going to call it number 8, and then I'm going to call it OOP methods. Okay, so we have said methods, they are nothing but functions. Why not Ctrl+Shift+S, methods. So methods, they are nothing. I hope you're getting me. Hello? Guys, are you getting me? Hello? Hello?
Recording in progress.
Hello? Guys, are you still there? Hello? Hello? Can anyone respond?
Yes.
Are you following?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that I'm going
No, your
to.
network is jumping.
Yeah, my network had gone off, but I hope you guys are following, eh? So I'm going to show you how we can create methods and why we need methods. As I told you that methods, they are the one that we use when we are doing what? When we are performing logic in specific what? Specific class. I've given you an example. You can write a method that can be used just to calculate a discount for what? For a product. So that particular function that's going to calculate the discount, you don't need again to do what? To put it outside or to make it available everywhere, because it will waste the space even when it's going to be what? Not going to be used. So if you want to put a function inside a class, that's what we'll call a what? That's what we call a method. Now assume that you want to put a function inside this class and its task is going to be just calculating the what? The discount, okay, that we give to the customer. So to do that, we can go ahead and go to the class. Here I'm trying to show you the possibility that a class cannot only contain variables, it can as well contain functions that are related to it. For example, right now we are going to create a function that is going to calculate the discount of every product. So instead of putting that function outside this class of product, it will become disorganized and will waste much of the storage and it will be hard for us to access it. So how about if we put it within the product class and then we'll be calling it on an object of the product? That will be a good deal. So it means that if we don't create an instance of this product, even that function will not be loaded into the what? Into the memory of a mobile phone or of a computer that our program is on. So to create a function, so I'm going to create a function that is related to this. It's going to create for us, I'm going to create a function that will do what? That will display the product, that will get for us the product discount. Okay, so to do that, I'll just simply say, first of all, what will it return? It will return maybe a string. Okay, let it return an integer, though it can be a float. Okay, so an integer, and then I'm going to call it make discount, discount. I can call it get discount. Okay, so this function, it will not take anything. Why? Because it can access the price, because it is within the same what? The same class. So it can as well access the what? The price. Okay, now we want to give maybe 5% discount of every product. Okay, 5% discount. So what does it mean? I can now get the what? The discount by saying, so another way of how you can do things in a function, you can okay, let me first do it in a simpler way, then I'll show you another professional of doing things. Okay, so I can say int discount equals to 0. Okay, then I go ahead and make a discount, calculate it. So discount will be equal to the percentage 5 divided by 100 times the price of this particular product. So if I want to access the particular value, a value within this class or within the object of this class, to access it, you use what you call this. Okay, you write this and then you go ahead and put dot and then price. So this means you're getting, okay, so it is 5 divided by 100 times this dot price. Okay, did I not close the bracket anyway? So it means this one, it means that you're getting what? You're getting supposed to be double. not integer. Okay, because you're expecting a what, something that is can get a decimal point. Okay, so this means you're accessing a variable within that particular object of the product, I mean of that class. Okay, so if I want to access the name, I want to access anything, we just simply put this. Okay, so when you say this, it means this price, this ID, this whatever. Then after, we can return the discount. Return discount. Okay, so what does that mean? It means now when we call this function on a certain instance of a product, it will get for us the discount. So it will be unwise if we go ahead and put this this function outside. First of all, we need again to give it what? The price. Now, what if we did not create any product, or what if we don't need it? What does it mean? It will just waste storage in the what? In the memory. So it is very wise to put this class inside the what? Inside the function that it is related to, so that we use it only when it is necessary. So another thing, the functions that are inside a class, they are called methods. So if you give that question inside, in your exam, you should be able to know. Okay, methods are the functions that are inside the what? Inside the class. We call them methods. So now let us go ahead and get discount for each product that we're displaying. So let's go ahead and do that. So come just simply to our displaying class, displaying function, and then maybe price, and then you can put here discount. Okay, discount. Okay, and then how shall we get the discount? So since this function that we have just put inside the class is within the class, we can access this function on its product's instance, its object instance. So I can just simply say discount, and then I put pro dot what? Dot get discount. I just call the function like this. So what does it mean? It will get the product, this particular product, get its price, and then calculate its discount. No need again to pass its value and all the rest. Okay, just by simply doing like that will do the rest for me, which is so beautiful, right? So let me go ahead and display this. Let me display everything. I remove the break part. Hope you understood the meaning of break. Oh, did I save? Oh, I'm in a wrong file. Got it. Okay. That's 18. Okay. Can you see? Can you see that, guys? I want to get feedback. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Did you understand now why we need methods?
Yes.
Are you sure? Let me hope. Let me hope your yes is a real yes. So that is how we use methods. So a method is a function inside a what? Inside a class, and you can call it on an object of that particular class. So instead of us repeating again and again, and so it would be very good to do this in that way. So that means that we can even as well create as many methods inside the class as possible, so that those methods will be loaded inside the memory only when we need them. That's the whole point. So maybe we can even create another method that is getting the net price. Okay, get net price. Net price. So I can just simply say net price. So since the price can change, so I can create another one that will get the net price. Get net price. Okay, so Another thing that you should know, a method, you can use a method. You can use a method you can call a method inside another method. My internet is on now. So to get the price here, you can just simply say, of course, price. So I can say net price. So net price equals this dot price. So what does it mean? When I say this, I mean the price of this particular object, of that particular object will have been created. This price dot minus, and then I call the get discount. So I don't need to create again another function. So minus discount, get discount. You see? And then I return the what? The net price. Did you understand that? So by doing like that, it will get for us. So it is method calling another method. When you start playing with these things, you'll understand what they really mean. So, and very important. So I can just put here discount and then put net price, and then I just simply call this guy here. Okay. Can you see that? Price.get net price. So when I call it, so ID, name, price, discount, and what you will pay. ID, name, price, discount, and what you will pay. So when I ask you to do for me a project that shows you've understood functions and classes and methods, I'll want for you to do for me something like this. By the way, that's going to be one of your tasks today. I'll ask you to just do anything that shows you understood these things. So, and classes and object and the function and methods. So do something of this kind. It will not be the exact the same, but something though this kind. You implement methods and you demonstrate that you really understood things. So that is how we use what? Methods. So lastly, we're going to look at what we call constructors. So what is a constructor? So a constructor, because of time.
I have a question.
Yes.
Back in the other method, how about if I wanted to call a method from another class, not the very class? How do I do that?
From another class. First of all, how will you access it? Unless it is a static method. So how about you call static method? Now let me explain that. Okay. Now let us assume that you want to get a discount. You want to use this method for another class. Maybe you have other type of a class and you want to use the same method. First of all, in this case, you will not be able to use it. Why? Because this method is attached to this product. Unless you do what we call static method, I didn't want to take you to advanced things. For example, let me say that I want to get the discount. First of all, I need to first know the product. Discount of what product? So it will not work if you don't create the product itself. Now, if you want to use the functions inside the product externally, as you said, maybe you want to use it in another class, something like that. For example, I want to use this method to even compute the discounts that are outside this. So you have to create what you call static function or static method. So to create static method, you just simply say static, okay, and then you give what it will return, maybe double, okay, and then you give the name, okay. Maybe I can say get maybe compute discount, compute, okay. Now since this method we are planning to use it externally, so it means that it does not know anything internal inside here. It does not know this price, does not know anything. So what does it mean? You cannot use this. Can you see? I cannot use this within this. Maybe after this ID, see? That is not allowed. Why? Because it is an external function. It's a function that we're planning to use externally. Or it's a method that you're planning to use externally. So you cannot use this. So now how will it know that how will it know the price? How will it know the ID? How will it know things about it? So you have to give it what you want it to use it for. So maybe I can give it maybe integer, and maybe give the price, okay? And you can also maybe pass more parameters. So now you can go ahead and create int, maybe double discount equals maybe 0 by default, okay? Then after you create the discount, so this discount, of course, it cannot access the parameters, though it is inside this class, but because it is a static function, it's a function that we are planning to use externally, though it is in this class. You have to add that word static, okay? It means you're going to use externally. Then you can go ahead and say, then you calculate your price, okay? Let me go ahead and copy this one, okay? And then you return the discount. So, can you see? So if I want to use this function, I will not call it as I called the other one, attaching it on an object, okay? I'll not use that way. So let me comment this guy here. So if I want to use this second function, so instead of me attaching, you see, if I attach it here, compute, it will bring me an error. Why? Because we say that we want to use it externally. So if I want to use it externally, what you do, you call the product name, the class where we put it, of course, the class is product. So you have to begin the capital letter product dot, and then you see compute. So what does it mean? You're calling this even before you define a what? Before you define a product. So I can pass it. So it is expecting me to pass the price. So I can pass product what? The price. Can you see? I'm using it externally. So I can use this method from anywhere. I can call it from anywhere, even before I create an object of it. But the point is, I have to give it something so that it should be able, because it cannot access the parameters that of a certain particular object. So you see, I cannot use this. That's what I was trying to say. I cannot use this. So it will use what we pass to it. So if I run, I will achieve the same thing, though I'm calling it externally. So those are the two types of what? Of methods. There are these ones that are not static. I don't know how they are called. The ones that are not static, okay? The ones that are using within parameters, those are the most common. And the one which are static, that you can use externally. So did you understand? Hope so. Did you?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. So one more thing that we're going to learn today is what we call constructors. So constructors, they are methods. They are nothing but methods that are called when an object is being created or an instance of a certain class is being created. So let me go ahead and create another file, a fresh file, where we're going to look at what you call constructors. They may seem confusing, but when you start playing with them, you'll surely understand them. So I'm going to put 19 underscore OOP underscore constructors dot. There we go. Then I'll create our main function, int main bracket return 0. Beautiful. Okay, so let us create a class. I'm going to create another class of what? A class of people, of human, of person. Okay, so class person. Okay, so this person, we'll call it person. I can call it P. Sorry, class of person, yeah, like this, and then open curly bracket like this. Okay, so what does it have? The properties will have maybe first name, last name, and age. Okay, or maybe first name, last name, and country. So we're going to have string of first name. Guys, I hope you're still fresh and following. Hope you're not bored yet. We are about finished, don't worry. You know these things are boring, eh? So first name, and then last name, and maybe country. So that's the class. Okay, so now I've said there's something called constructor. So constructor is a method that will be called, I repeat, a constructor is a method that will be called when an object is created. So when you create a certain object, the constructor will be called automatically by the operating system. It's just, how can I say it in real world? It's just like the way when you go to register at a university, there's something that are done automatically. When they add a new student, automatically maybe they'll assign him a class and the rest, and then build that student automatically, something like that. So if you want, maybe let's say that you're creating a system that has students. So when they add a new student and they save a new student, so wherever you have saved that student from, you want automatically to build that student, to give him a class, maybe to give him an ID, to do all that stuff. So there must be something that you should be able to automate, and it should be called automatically when a certain event is created. So when an event of a person is created, of a class is created, or when an object of a certain class is created, there's something that you can create that you should be called automatically. Among them is what we call a constructor. So we have one type of constructor that we call the default constructor. The default constructor is the one that will be called automatically when do what? That you're creating an object. So let's go ahead and look at this. Now I want to, for example, I want to call a certain constructor of this person when I create a person object. So let me say person called Juliana equals new Juliana. So when I call this, automatically a constructor is being called. But if you don't listen to it, it will not, you will not see its work until you listen to it. So if you want to create a constructor in that, you just simply put the name. So to create a constructor in that or in that programming, you put the same name of a class and you make it as a function. So can you see? Guys, listen very carefully because I'm going to give you tasks. And this task this time I'll need to see if you really understood shit. Okay? So I'm saying to create a constructor, you create a method that is having exact same name as the what? As the class. So let me go ahead and put here print. Okay? Print creating new person. Okay, so you see I've literally not called this method. Okay, but we want to see when you're creating a new method. Okay, will it call this one automatically? Let's go ahead and see. So I'll clear the screen and say that. Guys, be attentive, this is very important. Okay, and then put 19. Can you see? There is magic that is being done. There is magic that is being done. Okay, creating new person. Beautiful. So this method was called automatically. In fact, was called even before anything was created. So when you created this, so if I create like 2 instances, so it means that those are 2 callings. So can you see? Every time you create an object of a certain class, a constructor is being called automatically. Are we together? Now, how can we use constructors in real world? It's up to you, but you just need the idea and you have got it now. A certain hook will be called when a new thing is created. Okay, so it's up to you. Now, for example, when you are saving a phone number, when you're saving a phone in phone book, a person phone book, and you quit before you write his name, those Mapesa phone, they have that habit. You'll find automatically the word no name has been created on what? On his phone number. On the name. I don't know that you've ever had those Mapesa phones. When you go down, you find no name, no name, no name. Yet they are contacts, but they don't have no name. So how did you have those no name in their what? In the places of their names? We created those ones inside the constructor. That can also be one of the examples. Let us go ahead and create a display function. So I'm going to say display person. So this guy is going to print first name. Let me first print a new line, and then print first name. I want to show you something. First name. Okay, so this guy will receive a person object. Okay, I'll just simply say p dot first name, and then say last name. Name, and then maybe display the what? The country. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this method for displaying. So I'll pass to it Juliana. So what are you expecting? We're expecting empty fields. Can you see? Name is nothing. Last name is nothing. Country is nothing. Why? Because we did them like that. Now I want to show you the power of constructor. I want when you're creating a name, it should initialize automatically and create the default what? The default name. So if I want to make the default name, I can just simply say this dot name, dot first name equals to no name, okay, or no first name, okay, and then last name, no last name, then maybe country, and maybe I can put a dash. So what does it mean? When you create the object here, automatically this constructor will be called and will set the default values for this guy. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. Can you see? No first name, no name. I hope you are still together. So that is the power and the need of constructor. Then after doing that, you can now go ahead and define now. Okay, so I can say now dot first name equals Juliana, and then dot last name equals Kanyomozi, and maybe dot country equals Zimbabwe. So can you see that? So this guy, if I run it now, can you see? I've achieved the same thing, but I've now initialized. So if I comment last name here. So what do you expect? Everything will be initialized, but last name is having the default value that was set by constructor. So what is the whole point? My creativity may be ending from here, but for you, you can now start from there, thinking even better than me, how you can make good of that beauty once you understand that there is a way how you can hook something when a new object is being created. Maybe when I register, you go ahead and maybe create for me a TIN number, create for me automatically, something like that. You can even set rules and the rest. Okay? So that is how we use the default constructor. I think today we'll just cover the object-oriented part, then next class practicals of mobile apps. So I hope you're together and I hope you're understanding. So now let us look at one more thing called constructor overriding. I'm going to save this guy into constructor overriding. I hope that's the correct spelling. 20. So same class, same thing. Now constructor overriding is when you create a non-default constructor. As I said, this one is called a default constructor, the one that is being called automatically. Now, to override constructor is when you create more than one what? More than one constructor. You can as well create two constructors. Did you know that? You can as well create two constructors, but the rule will remain the same. A constructor will be a function or a method that has the same exact name as a what? As a class. That is the only rule of creating a constructor. Now, let me go ahead and create a constructor that will ask for the first name. So to override a constructor, another thing is creating multiple constructors. But what will if the constructor will have the same name as the class? So what will make multiple constructors be different, or what will make two constructors to be different? So what will make these constructors to be different is the number of parameters or the number of arguments that constructor will be receiving. Now we're going to override the constructor and create another construct that will receive the first name and last name. So if I don't want to maybe initialize things like this, I can as well initialize using constructor. So I can just simply say this constructor will receive two things. Will receive string and then a name, maybe first name. So if I want to make it different from the one that I have in this class, I can put underscore and then last name. Okay, last name. So when it will be hooked, I will initialize the first name and last name. So I can just simply now say this dot first name equals first name. Okay. And then I can say, sorry, go ahead and do it. That's what you do in that. Okay, in that you can modify it. So I'll commit this guy. Okay, so so what does it mean? Here I'm overriding the default constructor and I'm making it compulsory for someone to provide first name and last name. So what does it mean? It means that in this case, you will not be able to create a new object of this class if you don't give us the first name and last name. That's how you can enforce a rule. Let us say that maybe you have a certain rule for a contact at least to be saved, at least you'd have a first name and last name. So if you want to limit that, you can do it like this. So it means that here we'll have what? An error. Why? The constructor is expecting first name and last name. So instead of me doing like this, let me comment this. Okay, I can go ahead and pass first name and last name. So I'll achieve the same thing but with much more simplicity. Can you see? So a constructor is expecting, so to create a new object you must provide the first name and last name. So if I run this, can you see? I've just achieved the same thing. So this is a fancy way of doing things. So another way, now what if you want to perform some logic on those names in the constructor? That is when you give this constructor the body by just simply doing like this, and then you can receive, maybe this is one way, this one will automatically initialize. Another way, you can just simply say I'm expecting a string as a first name and also another string as the last name, and then you give it the body as you can see, and then you say this dot first name equals what you have received here, and then this dot last name equals the last name here. So that will also give you the same results. Okay, so if I run it, can you see? So that is how we can deal with those kind of constructors. So lastly, you can as well enforce the rule. You say that to create a person, you must provide all the parameters. So to do that, I can just simply create my constructor and I set those rules. Construct of a person, it must receive this dot first name. So it means that when someone create a person, must provide first name, and first name it will automatically initialize this. When I put this set, means that I'm initializing this one automatically. And then I come and put here this dot last name, this dot country, like that. So if I have this kind of initialization, then this one will also, again, let me comment this, guys. Hello? Guys, are we still together? Hello? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question, sir.
Let me finish and then you ask at once. So, if you enforce a rule like this inside the constructor, you can as well remove this default initialization like this. Okay? So what does that mean? No one will create. You see how I've done it? Ignore these comments, but I'm keeping them because you may need to look at my pieces of code. Their time is up. You can look at my pieces of code and they help you to remember. Okay? So no one will create a person object without providing these. So that's the beauty of constructors. You can enforce a rule. So it means that I'm having an error here. So I have to provide the first name, last name, and then maybe the country. Can you see? So if I go ahead and do this, can you see? I'm achieving the same thing. So lastly, very last, I can have now a list of people, of persons equals to that, and then I go ahead and add. You see, I can as well add them from here. I'm just showing you other fancy ways of doing things. I can just simply come and say, let me remove this guy. I'm just showing you better way, simpler of doing things. I can come and say, I just say person equals to people, and then I just say new person, and then I pass everything. So because I have constructor, I don't need again say equals to this and then I start initializing them one by one. I just duplicate this guy, just simply say new, and then I say maybe okay, and maybe can you see that? So instead of me again doing the same thing, initialize equals to, I can as well. So and I'm passing this information through the constructor. So if I want to display, just simply say for each, and then I just say people dot so just come and pass this guy here, P, boom. So I've done it in a simpler way. So those techniques can help you to speed up your programming. So why is it showing one person? People, list of person, people dot for each. Okay, and I'm passing P. Am I running the right file? Nope. That 20. I'll receive the same thing, but I've done it in a simpler way by the power of constructors overriding. So that will call it a day. From there, I'm going to receive your questions because our time is up. Let me go ahead and push to GitHub. As you're seeing, as I said, I can either commit from here and push from here, or I can come to my GitHub and put my best friend's name there, push. So if you now go to my GitHub, all my codes, you have them. Can you see? Beautiful. So if you go to GitHub right now, you have all the codes that I've shared with you right now. So you can go ahead and clone it to your computer, copy this and then clone it. You'll have the same updates on your what? On your computer, which is so nice. So that makes our end of today's class. I'll listen to questions and then we plan for the next class and we call it a day.